With the release of ChatGPT-5, Sam Altman has said it's the generation of the idea guy for solopreneurs. And what does that actually mean? And how can you leverage this new technology to impact your business? So, as we can see, AI is getting so good it can basically create softwares, front ends, websites, etc. And this is all because of the AI models GPT-5 getting much better. It's able to create dashboards, etc. And I've used all of this before, actually not knowing how to code and leveraging AI to learn how to code. It's managed to get me up to a point where I can build professional softwares out. And the tools which I use to do this are Cursor. And Cursor is basically an IDE, which is a development platform. And that development platform allows you to then plug in different models such as Claude, Anthropic. And the best model of Claude is 4.1 Opus as of today. Then the best GPT model is, of course, GPT-5. And this excels in front-end coding. Now, if you want cheap, quick alternatives, you've got DeepSeek V3, and that's a reasoning thinking model. But then also you've got stuff like Qwen V3, you've got Kimi K2, and all of these models are open source, so you can basically run it on your own computer. So if you've got your own powerful computer, you could run all of this on these. And that just goes to show that AI is getting exponentially better and exponentially cheaper. So therefore, as these tools progress, you'll be able to generate softwares, websites, dashboards, all of stuff like this for much faster and cheaper. And people were worried a while back about AI scaling and not getting better, but we've confirmed it now. Basically, models are only going to be getting better, more intelligent, as we've seen with GPT-5. So to wrap up, what's possible nowadays with software development, creating code, is exponentially better to what it was a year ago. And that allows people to basically create softwares of their own. And that's why Sam Altman has said it's the generation of the idea guy. Because if you've basically got an idea, you can build it out with the correct tools. So let's flesh all of this out. So if you've got an idea, how would you build out and flesh out that idea? So first of all, you've got an idea. Now, what do you do from then on out? So let's say your pain point is, so you've got an idea from a pain point you've established. For example, let's just say you're a marketing studio, for example, and you need media assets. You want media assets and you don't want to be spending too much on royalties and all of this stuff. So now, for example, what you could do is use AI generated music. And now this is royalty free. You could use AI generated images. You could, for all of these graphic designs, you could use AI generated product placement, for example. You can use AI to design the graphics. And now these are the core principles that you have, and this is expensive to actually hire out designers and people who don't know how to leverage these tools. So you want to do it on your own. Now, there are a myriad of different tools for this. So music has got Suno AI. Images is Flux Context or Flux Pro, Flux Dev, etc. Product placement could be something like Higgsfield. So if you want to do videos, or if you want to do static images, GPT image generation is the best for placing text and placing stuff on different items. So you found your idea due to the pain point you've experienced. Now you've plotted out all the different points, and now you found the AI tool. So to actually find all of these AI tools, what you would need to do is look at Perplexity, an AI software which allows you to basically find what's the most trending thing, and that will probably search from a place called Product Hunt. Product Hunt is a hidden gold mine, so that's another place for idea generation. But this is more for developers. Now, since you've found the pain point, you've found everything which that pain point encompasses, and then you've used the tools to identify the best tools to solve this. So how do you actually leverage these tools to make a business more streamlined and cut out the pain points you're experiencing? So for example, for this SMMA, let's call it SMMA here, you're struggling with finding music for your graphics, creating images and product placement videos, etc. So these are all the tools you found by using Perplexity, Product Hunt, etc. And now how do we actually leverage AI tools to build this out and then be able to sell it as part of your own agency. So here is where you'd have to build out the front end. So the front end would be like the dashboard or the software which does all of this stuff. So it'll create the music, for example, or it'll allow you to customize different types of music. And then the back end is where the music is created. So the music would be created from something like Suno. And now Suno is just an ultimate music generation platform. It allows you to create in all different genres, all different styles. Suno will therefore allow you to then leverage its API, which is basically like a internet key. So it allows you to use an API to connect different tools together. Using this API to then plug in to your front end software, which allows you to customize what kind of music you want. Therefore, you type in a prompt like in ChatGPT, for example, and then it's customized with the unique creative flair of that agency. Say, for example, they specialize in like a Brazilian flair to all of their stuff. So they would hard code into the prompt, which they've prompt engineered, a Brazilian flair or example. So then every time this API gets called, it would make something Brazilian, it would go through the master prompt, and then it would go back to the music creation software after they've created it, and then it'll present it to the end client as like a song, for example. And therefore, if you're a social media marketing agency, you could then sell this as your own AI SaaS. And then therefore you become an AI native company. And therefore, you've solved the key pain points, and then you can start making much higher margins on the products you're selling because you're doing it for much cheaper with AI, but then also it's up to the same quality as your standard products. So unless you want to decrease the price to reach a different audience, or you want to just excel from where you're at, then leveraging tools such as this front end and then to the back end with an API is exactly how you would turn a normal agency into an AI native SaaS sort of platform. Now, tools which allow you to actually build this stuff out. So to build out the front end, let's talk about the tools. You're going to have tools like Cursor. I mentioned before is the ultimate tool for building out any kind of web software, code, etc. because it's just like an interface which allows you to interact. And I've done tons of videos on Cursor. Check them out. You would start by cloning, I would recommend, a repository. And that's basically just a bunch of free open source projects people have already started with and created before. Clone it to Cursor. And then in Cursor, you would either use a native Cursor tool, so you'd use GPT within Cursor, you just have to press one button. I've done videos on that. Or you could download something called Claude Code, which basically allows you to use Claude's most flagship models for a fraction of the price of Cursor, and also have the access to the Cursor desktop software as well. But then also you can use this software to then change this GitHub repo to allow it to be to your own flair, unique aesthetic, etc. And you can find aesthetics on Pinterest, or you could find aesthetics on Google, whatever your desired output is. Then customize it towards whatever the APIs you want to connect. So then you'd connect to the dashboard, the Suno API, and then you would then deploy it to GitHub. And it depends. If you want to use it as an internal thing, you don't need to set up authentication because it's done on your own computer and done on your own servers. But if you want to then deploy it to many different people, you can connect it to a Supabase backend. And then you could either authenticate it in Supabase or any kind of other software. And then that's when you ship it into an AI native SaaS, part of your agency. And now this is just to give a complete overview of what the process of creating a front end and then linking it to a backend as shown here using the API, and then leveraging it and calling it your own agency. And this is basically what I am trying to encompass as the AI service agency model, which allows you to leverage the most advanced AI tools, AI APIs, and then repackage it into your own agency and either sell it for a profit or allow you to have creative marketing strategies. So therefore you can repackage it, give it out for free, and allow people to experience a little taste of what you'd be producing. And then when they hook in, you can either build out the software for themselves or build out the service or whatever your agency offers, or you could pass it over to these AI tools and then have the more upgraded version to then produce it. So that's one of the biggest issues I found with an agency, which was the marginal cost, ability to do everything at the same time. And this is what this model completely solves. It allows you to leverage AI for your agency, and the tools are good enough these days to basically build out any kind of software you would like with enough understanding. And if you don't know how to completely prompt it, how to do any of this stuff, then that's exactly where AI is for. You've got tools like Perplexity, you've got tools like Claude to prompt it. So therefore, there's no real excuse to not build out a software and then leverage this boom of AI for your agency. So that's just a quick encompassing tutorial of how GPT-5 will be affecting every single agency-based business and how it will basically turn every single business into an AI native SaaS company, leveraging these principles. So if you found any of that useful, check out the previous videos where I talk about how to build out stuff like this a little bit more in depth into the AI service agency model. And if this was of any value, please leave a comment and check out the free newsletter in the description, which talks more in depth about this process, exactly the technicals of how to do it.